Hey everyone, today I have a truly interesting story to tell you. Do you ever feel like your thoughts won't stop spinning? There are many videos that teach you how to stop overthinking, but this one is different. In this video, you'll enjoy a simple, inspiring story that will help you calm your mind and improve your English listening skills too. Today, I want to share a gentle and powerful story about a girl named Lina who learns how to stop overthinking, and how you can too. Let's dive in. Lina woke before dawn, when the world was still dark and quiet. A thin line of light peeped through her curtains, but her room felt shadowy and heavy. She lay very still, but inside her head stormed a million thoughts. What if I fail my math test? What if I forget the words I need to say to Mom? What if today goes wrong? Her heart pounded like a little drum in her chest. Lina covered her face with the blanket, hoping to shut out the noise in her mind. But the thoughts only got louder. She felt like a small boat tossed on a wild sea of worry. After what felt like ages, she threw back the covers. Her feet touched the cool wooden floor. She stood up slowly, breathing in the quiet air. One foot in front of the other, she whispered to herself, trying to stay calm. She walked to her closet and pulled on her favorite blue sweater. It was soft, worn at the edges, and smelled faintly of lavender, her grandmother's favorite soap. The sweater felt like a small hug, and for a moment Lina felt safer. But then she remembered all the things she had to do today. Get ready for school, finish her art drawing, and not say anything silly in front of her classmates. The weight of it all pressed on her again. In the kitchen, the kettle whistled. Lina poured hot water into her mug and added a tea bag. The steam curled in the air, warm and gentle. She sat at the table, stirred her tea slowly, and sipped. The warmth spread through her chest. She closed her eyes and took another sip, trying to let the warmth chase away her worries. But as soon as she opened her eyes, her mind jumped back to thinking. Did I study enough for the test? Did I call Grandma yesterday? What if I forgot something really important? Her mom set a plate of toast in front of her. The crust was golden brown, and the bread was soft inside. Lina picked up her fork, but did not eat. She kept turning the toast over and over, worrying that if she ate too fast, she might choke, or worse, spill crumbs and look clumsy in front of her friends. "Eat up, honey," her mother said kindly, but Lina only nodded with a forced smile. She took one small bite, then another. Each time the toast tasted good, but her thoughts tasted bitter. Soon it was time to leave. Lina grabbed her backpack, shoved in her notebook and pencil case, and stepped outside. The morning air was fresh, and she could hear birds in the trees near the gate. Yet she did not feel free. Her head felt full, like a jar packed with too many marbles rattling together. Lina walked to the bus stop with slow steps. She saw other children running and laughing. Their shoes made quick tapping sounds on the pavement. Their voices rose and fell like happy music. Lina wanted to feel that joy, but she could not. Her mind held her back. On the bus, she sat by the window and watched the street slide by, feeling trapped in a box on wheels. She arrived at school as the bell rang. Students poured into the halls, chattering and pushing lightly. Lina's legs felt stiff as she walked into her classroom. Every noise seemed loud. The clicking of lockers, the squeak of shoes, the rustle of paper. Inside, her heart hammered again. What if I forget my homework? What if the teacher calls on me and I can't answer? Her teacher, Ms. Park, wrote a problem on the board. What is 7 times 8? The class buzzed. Lina's mind gave her numbers. 56 popped up, then 64, and even 49. She knew the correct answer was 56, but her thoughts tangled. What if I'm too slow? What if I'm wrong? She pressed her hand to her chest, took a shallow breath, and looked down at her desk. The moment passed without her volunteering. Ms. Park moved on. Lina sank low in her chair, cheeks hot with shame. At recess, she took her bag and went out to the schoolyard alone. She found a spot behind the big oak tree. Its rough bark felt safe against her back. She sat cross-legged, head bowed, and stared at the grass. Tiny blades of green and brown pushed up through the soil, each one soft and thin. Yet she could not feel their calm beauty. Her mind raced. I didn't speak up. I looked silly. Everyone else must think I'm dumb. Then Omar found her. He was her best friend since kindergarten. He had a bright smile and a gentle way of moving. He sat down beside her, brushing a speck of dirt off his jeans. His dark eyes met hers. "Hey, Lina," he said softly. "What's wrong?" Lina opened her mouth, but no words came. She shook her head, blinking fast. Omar sighed and reached out to hold her hand. His hand was warm and steady. "It's okay," he said. "You don't have to tell me now, but I am here for you." Lina felt a small spark of comfort. Omar's quiet presence was like a lantern in her dark thoughts. She squeezed his hand and whispered, "My mind won't stop." He nodded. "I used to feel the same way, until I found something that helped me calm down." Lina looked at him. "What is it?" Omar smiled a little. He took a breath in, then a slow breath out. "I pay attention to just one thing, my breath. When I feel all those thoughts rushing in, I sit, close my eyes, and just watch my breathing." "Watch your breathing?" Lina's voice was tiny. He nodded. "Come on." He closed his eyes again and breathed in. Lina watched his chest rise. Then he breathed out, and it fell. She listened to the soft sound he made on the out-breath. In and out. In and out. At first, Lina tried, but her thoughts kept barging in. Math test, art project, spelling quiz. She wanted to stop them all at once, but the harder she tried, the louder they became. She looked at Omar's chest again. Breathing, steady, calm. She took a breath in. She felt the air tickle her nose. She slowly let it out. She heard a tiny whoosh as the air left her mouth. One breath, then another. It was strange. It felt small. But after a few moments, her racing thoughts slowed. The storm inside her head became quieter, like a lake after the wind dies down. When the bell rang to end recess, Lina opened her eyes. She felt different, a little lighter, a bit clearer. She squeezed Omar's hand and smiled. He squeezed back. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome," he replied. "You can do this anytime you feel stuck." The rest of the day passed more gently. Lina still felt shy during class, which she remembered to take a moment and breathe. Before lunch, she looked at her watch, 1 minute to stop. She closed her eyes, watched her breath, and then raised her hand when Miss Park asked for volunteers. When she answered correctly that 7 times 8 equals 56, her chest warmed with pride. That evening, Lina came home tired but hopeful. She sat at her desk and pulled out a small, empty notebook. It was a gift from her grandmother, with a cover of faded pink and a little golden key charm. Lina opened it to the first blank page. She held her pencil loosely and thought of the worries still lingering in her head. She wrote slowly, "I am afraid I will fail." She paused, then wrote, "I feel like everyone is watching me." With each line, she felt as if she were unloading stones from her pocket. When she finished, she looked at the page. All her worries lay there on paper, calm and still. That night, her grandmother came over. She smelled of fresh lavender sachets and worn spices. She had silver hair pulled into a neat bun and wore a gentle smile. Lina showed her the notebook and read her entries aloud. Her grandmother listened quietly. Then she closed the book and tucked it under her arm. "My dear," she said, "thoughts can sometimes feel like heavy clothes we cannot take off. But you have found a way to see them, to feel them, and now you can set them down." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small pair of scissors. Lina's eyes widened. Her grandmother opened the notebook to the first page and carefully cut out the page with Lina's words. She crumpled the paper into a tiny ball and walked to the open window. "Thoughts are like clouds," her grandmother whispered. "They float by, but they need not stay. Let this one go." She tossed the ball of paper into the night breeze. Lina watched it swirl away into darkness. Tears filled Lina's eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of relief. She felt a weight lift from her chest. The next morning, she woke up before dawn again, but this time her mind was calmer. She lay in bed for just a moment, remembering her grandmother's words, "Thoughts are like clouds." Then she sat up, swung her legs over the side, and smiled at the soft pink glow of sunrise. On her way to school, she saw the light in the sky change from pink to gold. She breathed in the fresh air and let it out slowly, savoring the peace in her lungs. In class, when a new problem appeared on the board, "What is 12 divided by 3? Lina raised her hand without thinking too hard. She answered, 4, and Miss Park nodded, smiling. The small success felt big in Lina's heart. During recess, she did her breathing exercise under the oak tree. She closed her eyes, focused on the gentle rise and fall of her chest, and felt her mind grow still like a quiet pond. Omar found her again and high-fived her. "You're doing great," he said. "I feel lighter," Lina said, laughing softly. As the weeks passed, Lina practiced her breathing every day. Sometimes she did it in the classroom when she felt her chest tighten. Sometimes she did it before going to bed to quiet her mind for sleep. She also kept writing in her notebook, but now she wrote not only her worries, but also her hopes. "I want to draw a bright picture for art class," or "I believe I can speak up in group projects." One afternoon, her teacher announced a group art project. Students would make a big mural together. Lina felt her height flutter. Working in a group meant people would see her ideas. She worried she might not be good enough, but she closed her eyes, took 3 deep breaths, and felt the calm spread through her. She held out her hand to Omar. He took it and smiled. Together, they stirred paint and sketched bright shapes on the wall. When visitors came by, Lina stood tall and talked about her part of the drawing. She felt shy for a moment, but then she remembered her breath. She stood straight, took a slow breath, and said, "I helped paint the sun and the flowers because I love bright colors." Later that day, Lina's art teacher showed the mural to the whole school. She pointed to Lina's section and said, "Notice how Lina's colors glow." She poured her heart into every brushstroke. The class clapped. Lina's cheeks glowed with happiness. At home that night, Lina wrote in her notebook again. She wrote, "Today I felt brave. I spoke and shared my art. I felt proud." She closed the book, kissed it gently, and put it on her nightstand. Summer arrived with long days and warm air. Lina planted flowers in small pots on her balcony. Bright marigolds, soft daisies, and sweet-smelling lavender. Every morning, she watered them and watched for new green shoots. Each day she saw growth, and each day she felt her own heart grow a little braver. One summer evening, the sky was clear and full of stars. Lina sat on her balcony in a chair, her notebook on her lap, and breathed in the cool night air. In her pocket was a small scrap of paper, the first one her grandmother had torn from her notebook. It still had the words, "I am afraid I will fail," written in Lina's shaky letters. She took it out and looked at it under the stars. She thought of that first morning when she felt lost in a whirlwind of worry. She remembered her grandmother's scissors, the paper dancing away in the breeze. She felt her chest rise and fall gently, as if each breath was a wave on a calm sea. Lina tore the scrap of paper into tiny bits and let them slip through her fingers. The wind carried them away, and she watched them vanish into the night. She smiled, feeling free. The next morning, Lina woke feeling bright and ready. She dressed in her blue sweater and smelled traces of lavender in the air. She packed her bag for a day of summer school. Yes, she had chosen to take extra art classes. She loved making things with her hands and sharing them with others. Walking to class, she noticed every little thing: the soft rustle of leaves, the cool shade under the trees, the laughter of children playing. She breathed in deeply and felt alive. In class, her teacher asked her to share an idea with the group. Lina took a breath in and out, stood up, and said clearly, "Let's paint the sky with sunsets and the ground with rainbows." Her classmates cheered. Lina beamed. When she returned home that afternoon, she opened her notebook and wrote, "I believe in myself." She placed her pencil down and closed her eyes. She felt a small, happy flutter in her heart, like the gentle beating of a moth's wings. That night, Lina fell asleep easily, the pages of her notebook resting on her chest. She dreamed of bright colors, soft waves, and open skies. In her dream, she danced on a hill under a sky filled with stars, breathing in peace and breathing out fear. And when she woke the next morning, she carried that dream with her into the real world. She knew that sometimes her mind might still send worry as a visitor, but she also knew she held the key to let it go. She could breathe, she could write, she could speak, she could share. And each time she did, she grew stronger. In the days, months, and years to come, Lina still had moments of fear. She was still human. But she remembered her story: the ruined page, the scissors, the paper in the wind, the oak tree, the silent breaths, the silk moth that once danced on her hand. She remembered that thoughts are visitors, not masters, and that she had the power to open her arms and let them fly away. Her heart held one simple, shining truth: I am free to live, breathe, and be myself. And with each breath she took, she carried that truth into her life, inspiring everyone around her with her calm courage and gentle smile.